Hello all! Rizzy RNG here, y'all's favorite music-loving, yarn-spinning, orange virtual catboy, back with another music talk stream. It is a beautiful Sunday today, June 22nd. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope your week has been quite decent for yourselves in spite of, all the continued chaos of the world around us, which, I won't touch on for the sake of my Vtuber immersion, but know that it is weighing heavily on me and perhaps the the script for the next glam metal deep dive too in some respects. But yeah, no, that work on that. It's been coming. I've been, reading source material for collecting source material, reading source material, taking notes on source material for it. And I recently actually what was it? I bought this I tried ordering from this non-Amazon used book site to deliver to my apartment. And it might have, I might have come to my apartment, but the thing is, the place that I recently moved to unfortunately does not have a package room. So it is more likely than not that somebody fucking swiped my books. So instead, I'm trying to jig it to a point where I can order it to a place that had a package. Like I feel kind of dirty because I actually ended up ordering Amazon for the second shipment of those books that I needed, but whatever. I'll get those books. I'll make good liberal use out of them. God bless physical media and that you can write in, that you can take notes in. It'll be all good, and hopefully something great will come of all my research soon. But other than that, things have just been chill in my life. One of my IRL bands, we recently had an EP released on streaming, and we had a gig that same night. So my first ever experience having, I guess, sort of a release party, even though we didn't have like merch or CDs for sale there. But yeah, that was a bunch of fun. Yeah, just sort of been chilling at home. Other than that, hope y'all have been, like I said, hope y'all have been doing okay on this fine it's summer now. We've passed the solstice and we're now in the months where it's gonna be absurdly fucking hot. New York City is gonna be hitting like 100 degrees on Tuesday, and I am not looking forward to that. It's probably gonna be awful the rest of the week. And we're in a fucking heat bulb too, where humidity is gonna drain the ever loving piss out of us the entire time. It's not gonna be fun. Pray for me, y'all. But with all that preamble out of the way, I guess we ought to get into our guest for today. Yet another person that I found when I put the call out on Blue Sky, I believe. And they're quite the interesting figure. I was looking around at some of their music and streams before a few hours before the stream starts, and they've got a very interesting musical mind that I can't wait to probe. So then, would you all kindly join me in welcoming Alyssa to the stream? There's not a VT at the end. Welcome, Alyssa. Glad to have you. All right, chatters, can you hear that? I see a big beautiful bar coming through on the screen, but let me just
Did we finally do it?
let me just adjust the audio here so you're not blasting everybody's ears.
Oh, that's fair.
How was that for you guys?
Are we good? Did we do it?
I'm just going to assume that we're coming
I'm gonna
through
trust
and
as well.
keep going.
All right, should we start the stream over?
God, I don't fucking know. Just give the audience the spark notes if you're comfortable.
Hi, I'm Alyssa, and I am Alyssa. I'm a streamer, and also I've done music for like 15 years, and I like too much of it. There you go.
And they also listen to a lot of really obscure electronic music that I have
That is
never
also
heard in my
true.
life.
Yeah.
I don't say any of that dismissively, by the way. I really do
Oh no, of
respect
course.
like electronic music and the effort, involved in that. It's just there's such a big underground that I'm not even tuned into. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
100%.
uh
So yeah, we were talking about how I get music into my life, and the answer is I don't as much anymore.
oh no.
Yeah, I listen to music literally every day,
Oh yeah.
like 8 hours a day at work, plus because the commute as well. But like my main input of new artists has been like, or used to be like SoundCloud, just shit that shows up in my feed, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't check it every day anymore.
Mm.
So now
Yeah.
it's just things I see people post on Discord or send to me, or
Yeah.
sometimes things show up in my recommendations, just on like YouTube,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll like see it in like a music shop or in a Goodwill, and I'll get
I
it that way.
sympathize.
That's been most of how I've been getting new albums lately, is that I
Okay.
get something old that is I get thrifted.
Oh yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun finding cool albums in the used bins. I
Oh
kind of
yeah.
relate to I used to be like more vigilant about like listening to my daily mixes on like Spotify and getting
Oh yeah.
exposed to new potential artists from there. But recently I've sort of fallen off Spotify and most other streaming that isn't just YouTube or whatever because fuck all the ads that fucking ruin the experience. But I'll what how to say um yeah, these days it's I don't know. I feel like I too often lean into my musical comfort zones.
Right.
And I still do try to expose myself to new music slowly. Like these days, I've been reading a lot about alternative rock and indie music. So I guess that's kind of been
Hmm.
exposing me to bands I wouldn't have otherwise tried before. But other than that, I'm also playing. I don't know if you've heard of Yarg, yet another rhythm game.
Yes.
It's
Yes, I
oh
have. I
cool.
have a plastic guitar, but I play Clone Hero.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. Yeah, no,
Which same difference, really.
I've been having like a fantastic time with Yarg and just getting back into the groove of like it's really nostalgic to when I was like a teenager back in like uh nondescript time frame. I'm not trying to
Right.
dox myself or whatever, but it's
I'm getting close to 30. It's fine.
yeah, no, I just had like I've been having a blast like reacquainting myself with the controls and also just like downloading a shit ton of like custom songs off of Rhythmverse to
Oh yeah.
to expose myself to not just like like charts for songs that I love and know but never made it onto like the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games, but also just like new stuff that I otherwise wouldn't have bothered with if not for the whole it's there, I might as well download it.
Yeah, a good number of things I've sort of gotten exposed to via partially, well, actually, a lot of the Clone Hero stuff that I play is like
Oh yeah.
definitely bands that I know, but largely music I know or music that I already knew from playing the original Guitar Hero games and then just getting the chart on Clone Hero also.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like the rhythm game that probably exposed me to the most music right now is Unnamed Sound Voltex Clone, which you
Mm,
might guess is a open source clone of Sound Voltex, which is an arcade
interesting.
rhythm game. It's if you've
Ah.
ever seen the ones where it's like the four white buttons, two black buttons, and two knobs, which maybe you
Hmm.
have, maybe you haven't. Some of those like clips of like high school playthroughs are relatively well known. Some of them are definitely not.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I might have paid like $200 plus for a controller for that, and now now I
Hey.
play it sometimes.
There you go. I mean, you make more of a habit of it and try playing it on stream. But yeah, I can
Yeah.
sympathize if it's not the best streaming game. You know, I'm still trying to for the one time I sat down and tried to stream Yarg, I realized it was kind of awkward to concentrate on the stream while also trying to entertain my chat at the same time. So it's a work in
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, mostly the controller's fuck huge and the buttons are super loud.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the main thing on my end.
For sure, for sure, for sure. But you're a rhythm game fan in general, I take it?
I am, yes. I mean, I
Mm,
like we mentioned, grew up with a Guitar Hero in the
right,
house,
yeah. No,
and
I was
I've
very
played a bit of
much,
DDR a little
yeah.
bit.
I
And
was very much in that track too. Like, I
oh
have
yeah.
fucking DDR Mario mix.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Fucking everybody had Guitar Hero. Everybody had Guitar Hero Rock Band, at least one of them. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was an insanely massive series. It's not a surprise for
It
someone
is
to
a
have
core
played Guitar
memory
Hero.
for white suburban kids growing up in America.
Like me.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I did that. I did a little bit of DDR, but that was much later. In college, I played for like a somewhere around a year. I played a lot of Osu, and then I
Mm.
saw the Osu community, and I was like, I'm not gonna play this anymore.
Yeah, I used to. I remember playing Osu a few times too. That shit gets intense though.
It does. It really does. And then I've played, of course, Hatsune Miku Project Diva.
Oh yeah, the Vocaloid games.
Yep, I've got that. And then Clone Hero and USC.
Yeah, yeah. I ought to diversify my rhythm game input sometime, or at least try more arcade games. I feel like I go to a lot of like these gaming or anime cons, and they have, the arcade setups there, but like well, one, there's either like a huge ass line leading up to it, or two, I just, don't have the don't have the willpower to try it out.
Oh yeah, that totally reminds me that I definitely also played Taiko and Groove Coaster at a con like last year. Also, I
Oh hell
forgot that
yeah.
I also play not I need to play it more, but I play Spin Rhythm XD, which can be played with
Oh
a
yeah.
MIDI controller, including a DJ MIDI controller, which is how
I
I play
see, I
it.
see. Mm. I yeah, I don't know. I've been meaning to like because Yarg has vocal inputs too. I've been meaning
Yes.
to somehow configure either my Blue Yeti for it because somehow it runs on like a delay where it'll just be
Oh yeah.
it'll just lag behind. I'm considering getting like some sort of a corded USB microphone at some point.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, I don't know if that'll make a difference considering that it's already kind of corded with the Blue Yeti, but I don't know.
Maybe it depends. I'm not sure.
Eh, whatever.
Right.
uh, Let me see then. So, like, how did you learn music production? Is that something that you sort of taught yourself?
Yeah, I'm for better or worse, I am self-taught.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That perhaps made it go significantly slower than it could have. But I mean, it's how it happened, and now I'm here, and I do all right, I think.
Yeah,
So clearly, I did okay.
were you just picking up things as you needed them from tutorials?
Yes, exactly. Which is, I mean, that's how I do most stuff nowadays. Honestly, if I
Yeah,
have to learn
yeah.
it, is like, let me just dive in. It's like, oh, I need to do this. Let me look up how to do this. Oh, I need to do this now. All right, let me look up a tutorial on how to do this.
And
And like, it
it's
works
just
well
a
enough.
it's just a shame that looking up tutorials for anything is the most tedious fucking thing on the planet. Like it's either you have to scroll through all this filler text that they're clearly padding out the article for advertisements, or you have to like, or you're pointed to this video tutorial when you're like, I don't want to watch a few minutes of a video. I just want to read this and do the thing, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
mean, the
either
visual
that or read the
representation
manual.
does
And
help.
and I've tried that. I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's valid. Uh, what is your process, would you say, when it comes to music composition? Like, do you have any particular methods for sparking inspiration? Are you, do you like to go in more with a plan or mess around until you find something that works?
So my inspiration is directly correlated to essentially how much creative input I have. So like
Mm-hmm.
the more I listen to music, the more I listen to new music especially, the more
Yeah.
ideas I start to get from that. And in terms of process, I am capable of full audiation. I have the internal monologue. I can listen to songs in my head. I do all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even open FL Studio until I have an entirely formed section in my head that I can then put down.
I see, I see. So you compose in your head first, then transfer it to the DAW.
Unfortunately, it's more like I wait until a fully formed section appears and then I put it
Ah.
down.
No, that's relatable. I've only like a few times done my own sort of demos in GarageBand, and whenever I've been compelled to do it, it's usually because I had an overwhelming idea that I couldn't like keep in my head, you know?
Oh yeah. I will often say that I create because I don't have a choice. And
Hmm.
it's because these things appear in my head and I can't help it. I can't stop that from happening. So I might as well just put them down. I don't get a
Hey,
choice.
that's the passion with which the very best music is composed. I think Gustav Mahler of the late Romantics was very much the same way.
Yeah,
I
because we're
mentioned
very
that
much like
because
romantic period musicians.
hey, you know, I we have a lineage from something.
That's true.
uh And besides, I'm a bit of a Mahler nerd, or at least I was like back when I was in college. You know, I studied abroad in Vienna and got to, you know, firsthand listen to a lot of like
Hmm.
classical music in lavish spaces that I otherwise probably wouldn't have.
Right. I mean, when it comes to classical, most of the ones I like are like Steve Reich,
Oh yeah,
which
like the
gives you an
minimalist
idea
stuff.
of where I
Hey,
sort of go with that.
minimalism is fine. You know, I like my own like filled glass here or there.
Yeah, minimalism, 12-tone serialism, microtonal stuff.
Oh wow, you are
Well,
like deep in
like
the you're deep
stuff
in the
I, I
experimental.
I like when things are weird. And also like, you know, there comes a point games that you're like
Hmm.
orchestras are actually kind of boring. They're everywhere and it's one palette of sound. I just hit my microphone, sorry.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
one palette of sound that everyone uses and it's like, can I have Rite of Spring, please? Actually,
You know, that's very interesting you bring that up because a lot of like the modern classical music that's being composed now, it's a lot more like syncretic. Like it, you know, it's willing to play around a lot more with how like ensembles are conceived. You know,
yes.
you'll throw in like a guitar, you'll combine orchestras with percussion ensembles, you'll do all this wild shit that you know before wouldn't even have considered, like in the concert halls of like Vienna or London. It just that's music in its purest form, just having fun with sound and seeing what comes out of it.
Yeah, one thing that really excites me musically is taking control away from myself.
Oh,
Like,
you're
I sort of view my musical process not so much as I make a music, as it's a bit of a conversation with my tools.
so
And
very
I
much in
try
the
to
you're
yeah,
very
go ahead.
much in the aleatoric sort of sense, like the John Cages of the
It,
world.
perhaps. I mean, I definitely still go like sort of
Like you have
dancey,
control over your music,
typical
but
stuff.
you
Yeah, but like one of the things I love to employ is random chance.
Oh, okay. So you
And
do
like
use a bit of indeterminacy
I'll
there.
have my synthesizer. I use Vital. It's fantastic,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it has a random value generator. It has like three random value generators, and I was like, all right, I will take this random value generator, and I'll put it on one of the parameters. So every time I hit the note, it's different, and
Wow.
I just have to live with that.
That's really cool. You're the first VTuber that I've spoken with for this series who's used that sort of random chance method of composition.
Yeah, I've got like I have a small amount of like non-software things that I will use, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are about how I can take the workflow away from me.
Mm.
Like right next to me on my desk, I have a Korg mini log analog
Oh,
synthesizer,
nice.
and that is piped into a bunch of extremely cheap and bad guitar pedals,
Mm.
and then into a vintage 4-track tape recorder with an 8-second or 8-inch cassette tape loop that I've
Oh,
spliced.
wow. So there must be like a lot of variety you get out of that, especially if you have like the random chance element.
Yes, like uh a lot of what I do when I play around with that is it devolves often into just delay feedback,
Mm.
which I find just this incredible soundscape in it.
Hey, yeah.
Where it is oscillating itself. Like I didn't do anything. I can control how fast it goes. I can control
Mm.
the effects that come after it. I don't necessarily know what that's gonna sound like in the end.
Hmm. No, like noise is incredible when it like the whole I've really warmed to the whole notion of like playing around with noise in music as opposed to just having like more conventional song structures. Like, I don't know if you're familiar much with the band Sonic Youth. Like a lot of their albums in the 80s, it's very unconventional, weird, experimental shit with the guitars. Like they were essentially doing what John Cage was doing with pianos with their guitars and like preparing them, like experimenting with weird tunings and all sorts of things to try to wring as much noise out of them as they could. And these were like cheap ass guitars too, like really working like under a budget and like trying to make as interesting music as they could with cheap instruments.
I love cheap gear because like it just is bad at its job sometimes.
Yeah.
And that makes for a really interesting sound. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I want this absolutely perfect delay, then I'll fucking put Fruity Delay 3 on it. But if
Mm-hmm.
I want something more like dirty and like unpolished and
Mm-hmm.
imprecise, I'll run it through my what is it? Uh my K-line Ghost Rain pedal.
Ooh. That is a fancy name.
It was like $20. Sorry, it might have been 40. Some of these pedals are definitely $20 and under.
Man, that's something that I do not regret not indulging in as a drummer myself. You know, I'm very very basic when it comes to the gear that I have. I mean, I have an electronic kit and like a few pieces of acoustic kit in my current apartment. You know, I have to practice on the electronic kit, obviously, for practicality
Hmm.
purposes, but like I've never really considered dropping that much money on like pedals or like a or
Yeah,
like an
I
amplifier.
may. I may or may not have a mild case of gear acquisition syndrome. I'm
Hey, it's
not gonna
very
lie.
fine. You know, I know I have a few friends, you know, even like some bands I'm in who are like really crazy about collecting guitars. So that
Yeah, I
that's just that's just something that happens when you're when you're a professional musician, I guess.
yeah, I mean, luckily most of what I do is in software, so like I
Mm,
can really easily justify myself away from getting some of this stuff, but
mm-hmm.
also some of it I am not that strong.
Yeah, yeah. Man. Let me see. So kind of going off of that actually, do you have any instruments or production techniques that you'd like to learn if you had the spare time?
How to actually play any of my instruments. Like I
So
well,
you have
half that's a
instruments,
joke,
but
but because like I mean, I have my synthesizer and I
right.
have actually a couple stringed instruments. I have a really cheap, shitty $50 new guitar Strat copy from probably China,
Oh,
which I got in
okay.
college. And
Nice.
I mean, it's fine. It's a guitar. It makes noise. It's whatever. And I have a Squire, like I think it's a 50s model P bass,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a Fender Player 2 Telecaster.
Mm. Have you used
And
any of those for your recordings?
I have,
Mm.
and like I can figure these things out enough to like learn something for the purposes of recording it enough times, and then I am done.
Right, right.
And like
Minimalism
for
at
the
its
music I make with how
finest.
rarely I'll use a stringed instrument, that's completely fine. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'll usually oh the return.
Oh fuck. Are we back? I don't know what the fuck happened there. I'm sorry. Sometimes
Internet
my
connections
internet
likely.
will just be shit like that. Where the
I
fuck?
was wondering if it was me.
Hold on a second. Are we back on YouTube? I don't know,
I'm seeing
like,
YouTube moving around again, so I think we're good.
okay, I well we just unfortunately scared away all of our viewers, so that's
It's
whatever.
fine.
Where were we? What was I speaking about? I think I was saying something about indie bands and technique.
Uh, I didn't get that part. The last thing I remember was that I was explaining what what the fuck was I talking about?
You were saying how you only know as much as you know on your instruments in order to like record what you need, right?
Yeah, and like that's fine and all, but being able to be more technically proficient would definitely be something I'd like for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, to that I was saying you know, Sonic Youth and you know another band I've read about, Beat Happening. There's this one book that I've been reading recently, Our Band Could Be Your Life by Michael Azerrad, which is
Hmm.
basically about the rise of the alternative indie underground in America in the 1980s. And you know, Sonic Youth and Beat Happening, they both had members who you know barely knew anything about music. They really were just sort of beginners to their instruments when they joined their bands, but through the adoption of sort of this minimalist approach like to their music early on, they really fell into their roles and became more confident musicians. So I'm sure you'll get there someday. It's just, you know,
And
yeah,
like
I guess commitment.
as far as how I know history, which could be wrong, forgive me if it is,
Go
but
ahead.
that's where like that might be where at least the sound of punk came from, is that
Oh yeah, no,
it's easy
definitely.
to play. And like I don't want to say that a lot of people weren't musicians because I don't know most punk bands of
Yeah,
the early
yeah,
eras, so I can't make value adjustments based on that. And B, what makes a musician anyway? Like that's an entirely different
yeah.
question. but a lot of these people quote unquote weren't really musicians, or like they were very good in the process, anything like that. And it's like this is just a way to express yourself, and these chords are easy, and this is how you do it, and then you make something with that.
Exactly. You know, that is honestly the spirit of music at its core. Just I've always been for the sort of democratization of music. Anybody being able to pick up an instrument and ideally learn how to play it. They should be able to if they want.
Right.
Which is, you know, why which is why I'm not as harsh on like electronic music as, you know, your typical rock critic would be, you know, very sort
Oh
of
yeah.
boomer takes of, you know, "Oh, they're not playing instruments or whatever. But like, it really
It's the
is like,
famous quote from Rock and Roll Will Take to the Mountain by Skrillex. You have musicians here make, or you have, and like, whatever it is. Yeah, people here making noise. No one is musician. They're not real artists because no one can play the guitar.
yeah, but like at the same time, you know, digital music is like one of the most revolutionary advents in like in music production in like decades, if not centuries. Like,
Oh yeah.
because anyone can do it if they're willing to sit down and learn like the plugins and the mixing skills behind it all. You know, you can put out a an electronic track, or you know, even like produce a beat for a rap song or anything like that. Within like weeks or months.
Oh yeah. It's like all these tools are just there, and you can just get them.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, I feel like it
Even
is difficult. It is really pretty difficult to find the free stuff that's out there, even though
yeah,
it
that's the
absolutely
thing.
is, and a lot of it is actually really powerful. Like
Yeah.
Vital, synthesizer I use for just about every sound except for like drum samples or
Oh
vocals
yeah.
or something like that. It is
Yeah.
completely free.
Mhm.
And
Like
like there's entire digital audio workstations like
oh
LMMS,
yeah.
completely free. The free trial of Reaper, it's like WinRAR. You can just
Yeah,
use it forever.
I use Reaper too. Yeah, I have not yet paid for it, and nor do I intend to, and it's good enough for
And they
me.
know that and they're fine with it.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, the limited VSTs that I have been able to find on the I don't really, you know, do production that much. I've made a
Right.
few covers here and there for my channel, and like, you know, kind of like you, only really learned enough to, you know, make them listenable, right? But
Right.
I don't know. It's good to have like all these free you know, compression, echo, other what have you effects at your fingertips to
Yeah.
play around with.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh um so you did a stream sometime in the past. Where you took a look at your original song and you broke it down for your audience.
That I
Do you think
did, yes.
you think you might do more like music production streams like that in the future? Like, how was that for you?
One of the things that I look, because there's also another music production stream that is no longer public
Okay.
because it was like I was trying to at least start a remix on uh the song Blackout that Lazarlight did, and then all
Oh
that Niji
yeah.
Sanji stuff happened, and I was
Oof.
like, I'm like nothing against the streamers themselves for the most part. Like there's other
Yeah.
stuff that's been happening that is
You just
completely
wanted
unrelated,
to
and
stay
fuck those
out of
guys.
the you just wanted to stay out of the
Yeah. Well,
ensuing mess.
yeah, it was like, but the company itself, I'm not happy with, and I've not been happy with since. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
take this down. Like, I can't undo what I've done, but I can not necessarily like disown it in that sort of way, but like
Yeah.
like out of courtesy, like have this be a bit quieter.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
but having done that and the music breakdown stream, music breakdown stream is actually not super related to this, but what I've learned is that it is not fun to stream making music, at least for me,
Yeah,
because
no, it is.
my
It's a
process is a lot
process.
of I have this section looping in the background while I stare at my screen for like 5 minutes, and then the
Yeah,
next one for like 10 minutes, and just
yeah.
like it's a lot of nothing visually appealing, and then I get really self-conscious about it.
It's definitely a lot of dead air, you know. I think I tried a music production stream once and felt very awkward about it. Not to mention
Yes,
that was at a time where I, you know, had no viewers basically and had no
right.
idea how to, you know, basically bounce off myself in a stream, so like
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I think it's fair to say that for music production streams, neither of us are to the point of like eliminate or whoever else does music production streams. I don't actually
Right,
know that
yeah.
many, but like I've
I have a friend, Noriboshi Ariel. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's an indie VTuber that does a lot of music production. Like she does comms work, she does her own original music. Even when like there's like singing march or whatever that comes around, she literally produces like the MIDI stems for her own covers for that.
oh yeah.
She's a very busy fucking bee, and you know she has a bunch of regularly she does these music production streams where she just you know sits down for hours upon hours and like plunks out a track right then and there. And you know I'm I really admire her commitment to doing that, like to you know to explicitly you know treating it as like a work stream, you know.
Yeah.
I wish I had that fortitude.
It's not an easy thing.
Yeah, yeah. Um, do you have any desire yourself to become like a comms worker? Like if
I've
anybody came
thought
to you for
about it actually.
commissions?
I've thought about it a couple times, and I I think that I don't know if I'd be able to take on the workload necessary to do it like as a, replacement for my day job or anything like
Right,
that.
yeah.
Like I've done the math and even charging what I feel is a fair price and significantly higher than other people in the music commission sphere, like I'd still have to take on like several songs a week to make enough to
Yeah.
make as much as I'm making with just my standard day job.
Yeah.
And like that, I can't do that. I actually just can't do that. I'm having trouble
Yeah.
making one song every 2 weeks right now.
So you just feel that it'd be too much on your plate?
Yeah, at least to do as that sort of thing. Like if I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
get like if I could get that ability to like open up a VGen and like get a code or
Mm.
however it works, I'm not even entirely sure.
Yeah,
Then like
yeah.
I'd be open to having it just sort of sitting there and I'll take things as they go and not
Absolutely.
really promise too quick of a turnaround because I've learned that I don't really work that way for the most part.
Yeah, no, it's deadlines are a bitch. I would know very well. You know, I you know, on my Patreon, I post updates for my subscribers or whatever every month or so. I feel like I'm constantly telling them, looking forward to more about this next month or, you know, in a few months from now or and then by the time that deadline comes around, I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, I kind of mistimed that. You
About
might be
that.
another month or so."
Right.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm
it,
actually like I'm tits deep working on an album right now, and
yeah.
to like I've set like self-imposed deadlines every 2 week, have at least like the base minimum viable product version of a song done, and the next one,
Yeah.
and the next one, and the last one is in 2 weeks from now. Today was one of those deadlines, and I
Oh
finished mine
man.
up for this round, and then there's one more, and then it's on to just final revisions,
There you
just making
go.
changes and all that, and then it is done, except I have to do all the promotional stuff, and then it's done. But then I have to post it all. But
Oh,
then
hey,
it's done.
congrats on well, eventually reaching the end of that project. I very much know what it's like to come out of a months long development pipeline for something
Oh,
like
oh
that.
yes. I am planning to go on a vacation from, everything,
Oh my god.
including actually work. I'm gonna take a week off sometime after that.
That would be something I'd love to do. Like if I've joked to myself in the past, if I ever do like if I ever decide to just fuck off my integrity and throw myself into like doing like a fucking 3-hour VTuber drama video for whatever reason.
God.
I'm just gonna shut myself off the internet, go to like some cabin in the middle of the woods for the next few weeks and fucking decompress.
As you should.
But I am not going to wade into any of that bullshit. Music history videos are already they're
I
already
have enough
dense enough
drama
to
already.
tackle. Let me see real quick. We're on a decent pace here, though we may be burning through these questions faster than I anticipated, but it's okay. Do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick?
Go right ahead. I will try my best to be extremely entertaining.
Yeah, good. My chat are very chill.
Alright, I'll just stare directly into them for like 5 minutes. My stream's behind, I just saw him slump over like he fucking died. Yeah, that to sort of expound while he's out. Goddamn, working on an album is hard. It's fun. It's fantastic, and I'm really glad I'm doing it. But Jesus, it's hard. Fulfilling, but I've gotten in and out of pace a couple times. Like I started a week ahead of time, but then it pretty quickly devolved into, I think, a couple times in a row I've been a few days behind. But it's been from pretty difficult entries in the track list as well. So I don't just like randomly guessing how long each of those deadlines should have been from when I wanted the album to be out. Like I feel like I did all right. 2 weeks. I guess that's about as quick as I can offer a song if I want to start doing commissions. Like, hey, you want to pay me money? You'll get your thing in like 2 weeks. I'll be fine. So I was thinking about it as well. From my work, we also work with clients and deadlines, and usually we try to get things turned around in like a 1 week at most in most circumstances. So it's a pretty all right turnaround, all things considered, in the professional world. We even get often told that we do things weirdly quickly in our realm. So I guess makes sense.
I've returned. What have you
Yo,
been
what up?
yapping to
I've
my
been
viewers
yapping
about?
about I've been yapping about the sort of process of working on the album in terms of like the turnaround times and the deadlines that I've set for myself and such.
Oh yeah,
How
yeah.
it's hard.
No, it really is definitely a struggle when you got to self motivate yourself to do something like that.
Yeah. I give myself 2 weeks to work on music for 2 days, essentially.
So when roughly do you think you'll be done with that? Like within the next month or so?
I am planning to have everything out and released in mid-August.
Okay. And how will that rollout happen? Like, do you think you're gonna drop a few singles or songs here or there to lead up to
I'll
it, or are you
post.
gonna?
I'll probably starting on the first of the month start doing like the first Friday of the month, something like that. Start doing like some teasers, a trailer,
Okay,
a crossfade of the tracks, some like promotional material,
very
promotional images,
nice.
things like that.
Do you have like a video that you're thinking of commissioning for like a song, like some sort of lyric video, some sort of the standard VTuber music video with like
I've
the
spent enough
graphic
money on
artists
this
and
already. I have a I have a photo shoot coming up at like on Saturday that
that is
is
valid.
photo shoots are already expensive and I'm paying for additional rights for commercial use and editing, and that
Yeah.
plus costuming is going to cost me $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
Also, I should know this is not for me as a VTuber. This is for my music I've been working on for 15 years.
Oh, I see, I see. So you're sort of side project apart from your
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, I don't give a shit about any of that immersion breaking bull crap anyway. I'm just a person. I don't
That's all well and
fucking
good.
care.
Do
I'll
you
I'll cross promote because I'm proud of it. Fuck you guys.
do you have any plans to do VTuber original music in the future, or
I have
I mean
one
apart from
that
what you've
I've
already
been
done, yeah.
right. I have one that I've been cooking for like 2 years at this point. No, I
Okay.
don't think it was 2 years. It might have been actually something
Mm-hmm.
close to that. Like I think it's like a year and a half or so.
Yeah, yeah.
It I version number my tracks when I
Mm.
export them, and this one is currently on version 0.3.1, and it is about 17 minutes.
Mm. Wow. That's quite considerable. What are you cooking up
Uh,
there? Like a prog rock epic or something?
it's a multi-phase, multi-genre exploration of like what it means to. Yeah, so the title is Turing Complete, which
Okay.
if you know Alan Turing and the Turing test,
Yeah, yeah.
I will explain it for the viewers. The Turing test is a test that is performed on a computing machine, because this is in like the 40s, in the early days of computer science, where you ask questions of two parties, one of which is a computer and one of which is a human, and you have to be able to tell which one is a human from the responses.
Mm-hmm.
And if you cannot tell them apart, then the computer has passed the Turing test. Something being Turing complete is slightly different. Alan Turing came up with essentially what is a computer. It is like a machine that can read a piece of data and then perform an instruction based on that to
Mm-hmm.
write or change or read other data. And that is called a Turing machine. And something being Turing complete means that it is an abstract enough system to be able to run a Turing machine.
Mm. Interesting.
So the name Turing complete comes from this idea of like, in part, like from it being a multi-genre piece, is like I am showing that I am generalized enough to, in a musical sense, be considered Turing complete. But then also it's like, what does it mean to be that generalized?
Yeah.
And then in the vein of the Turing test, like there's a bit in there, there's a bit of questioning in there of like, artificial intelligence and generative AI, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
what does it mean then to be generalized and like to have something else that is equally that and can do the same things I can? What does that mean for me as a person?
It's you, the
And what
walking
does that
music
mean for the generative
LLM.
AI as well? And like, it's this big thinky thing,
Yeah,
and
man.
like a lot of stuff.
I
That's
used
why
to
it's taken
think
2 years.
I used to think that back when AI was like very primitive. I'm talking like I think it was like back in the late 2010s. I remember like these uh these videos on YouTube. It was like X song, but like AI completes the rest.
Oh
Like
yes,
a
yes,
few different.
yes.
I remember like falling in love with those videos and hearing like the possibilities that AI would take it on, but now that we're getting to the point where like AI is just being fed all of this sonic history from like centuries past and churning out like commercialized slop thanks to thanks to unchecked corporate exploitation of the whole thing.
Hmm.
It just rings so sour in my mouth,
I mean, all those super old AI generation algorithms, those are all the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those make all the really interesting things you can work with. Because,
Yeah.
like, the whole way that this AI works, at least in the sort of models that we have now, is that
Yeah.
it looks for patterns in the data set, how those patterns are repeated across multiple pieces of data that share the same tags and the same
Mm-hmm.
prompts, and then when prompted, it will then produce something based on the patterns that it recognized. But it's not looking necessarily for the same patterns that we see or
Mm-hmm.
that we can see, because a lot of these things aren't even like stored in the AI's data set in human readable ways.
Yeah,
So you'll
exactly.
get these things that approximate the patterns that show up in like, human made arts, human voices, things like that. But
Yeah.
like that aren't quite there and do these really weird things that we would never think to do with them because our brains
Yeah.
don't work that way. And even when they're asked to be random and unpredictable, we are random in predictable ways. So
Mm-hmm.
you end up with these extremely interesting pieces of visual art or of like music snippets that like I would like to perhaps say maybe this isn't true and someone could prove me wrong, but that a human maybe couldn't do
Yeah.
because we're not really wired to do it that way. But now it's all like because we're now trying to going back to Turing, this is a problem that I think it's called the Turing problem, where
Right.
we're so focused on making an artificial intelligence that can pass the Turing test that we are making people who do that already obsolete instead of solving problems that no human can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because we're dealing with the Turing problem, instead of getting these really interesting and unhuman makeable pieces from AI, we're instead just getting the exact mathematical average of the prompt, which sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like AI art, like some of the really bizarre shit that it can produce, like it's really interesting, but we choose instead to focus on reproducing like the like regular art and putting people out of business. It's a goddamn shame.
Yeah, like I'm definitely like you can probably tell from how passionate I am about this that to me AI is a tool. It is not like this inherent evil that must be stamped out because
No,
it
I
can do
mean,
some insane things that we could never hope to do on our own, but it's also being used as this horrible tool of exploitation.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
a bad way to use a tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. I've grown a lot more sympathetic, I think, in recent years to AI not necessarily being a horrible thing, but like, it's something that needs to be wielded responsibly. And with the
Yes.
current, with the current
And
financial and
people aren't
governmental
doing that.
systems in place, that is not happening. That is never
Yeah, people
going to
aren't doing that,
happen.
and they are being like rewarded for not doing that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like there's also the whole fucking environmental aspect of things, like fucking burning down a forest to produce an AI generated meme or whatever the vernacular is.
Right. Like, yeah, there's this huge problem with those like data centers where they exist just to churn out as much AI crap as possible. And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that fucking sucks. If you want to use AI, you run it locally because it's not going to use any more fucking energy than your computer already takes to run, I don't know, fucking Doom or whatever.
We're gonna burn
Doom
down a
Dark Ages, obviously,
rainforest.
because this game is way more powerful than Doom from
Yeah.
1993.
We're gonna burn down an entire rainforest so Timbaland can have his AI generated artists make bank. uh What a world. Yeah, no, I definitely hope that we get to a point in the future where we can eventually, have a more equitable relationship with AI and use it to properly, explore things that we otherwise wouldn't think of. And I mean, not just that. I mean, AI is the more that we can machine learn and cut down on inefficient processes. I think that's definitely going to really help us in the future, even if in the short term it might unfortunately kick a few people out of jobs. That's just the nature of the fucking system we live under, sadly.
Yeah, yeah.
Man. But I guess, like, to shift over from this AI conversation, since you, I guess, kind of themed yourself around AI, what inspired you to become a VTuber?
I promise I made this character before AI was a hot topic, by the way. Even though I
Sure, sure.
kind of launched at about the same time that it was really
That's
taking
fine.
off.
That's fine. That's fine.
I mean,
Kisuna I was a popular VTuber before.
yeah, I remember when Kizna I was new. I remember
Yeah,
watching her in college.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
like
think I saw like one or two Kisuna I videos, but yeah, my my
yeah,
my big exposure was Hololive.
yeah, of course. Like, I mean, I saw the first wave of VTubers with Kizuna Ai and Kaguya Luna. Those were the two that I
Mm-hmm.
really still recognize.
Mm.
And the second wave only really sort of hit my periphery. Um, I think shortly before Kiryu Koko debuted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit before there was actually an English speaking mainstream corporate VTuber. I'll be very
Uh,
specific in my wording, or else people will get mad at me.
mm? Yeah,
And
yeah.
because, like, I mean, fun fact about me, my major was Japanese.
Oh
And here I
wow.
fucking am doing music and graphic design instead.
Oh wow.
But,
I'm sorry if you hear that, by
like,
the way. There's a fire truck going by.
don't worry, I live near train tracks. I'm surprised one hasn't gone by. But,
Mm.
like, I, especially then when I was really sort of deeply immersed in language, taking classes in it, less so now, but like I would sort of get Japanese YouTube to me and like follow a lot of Japanese Twitters and stuff like that. And I'm gonna name drop a buddy of mine used to be my a bit of a language partner. Now we don't really talk, but I still think of him fondly. Nadeshi Core,
Mm-hmm.
another musician from Japan. I think he at some point retweeted a compilation of oh no, maybe it wasn't him, but I spoke with him about it, and I also saw on Twitter around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have just named dropped him for no reason. Sorry, but I saw a VTubers out of context tweet that
Mm-hmm.
was a small clip compilation of VTubers sneezing. And that was when I started watching Nekomata Okayu.
Oh. Bless.
And it's sort of it just like that was my first real introduction to the second wave of VTubers.
Mm.
And I was like,
Is
wow,
that what
this
we
is like
consider
this
like
is
the Niji Sanji Hololive sort of boom of things?
yeah, yes. In my head, first wave is like actors in studios, in
Yeah,
mocap studios, just like doing essentially a Japanese variety show, but on the
right.
internet. That's what I think was the first wave. The second wave is when they started streaming.
Yeah, okay.
So, second wave VTubers, I find. And we could say third wave is like indies in English, but at that point, it's
Yeah.
a bit of a porous barrier.
Honestly,
But
I found like with like Hololive Niji Sanji, the past few years up until about I want to say last year was kind of like the golden age of VTubing in my eyes. If we're gonna historicize things here, I mean,
right,
far be it for me to say that VTubing as a medium is dead or that its glory days are entirely behind them, but it
right.
feels like it's in far more of a slump now.
I may even go the opposite direction and say that it is itself booming currently,
Mm,
mainly in the sphere of indies and
yeah,
English speaking ones at that, with a lot of people leaving corporations and then suddenly an extremely popular VTuber shows up.
yeah.
If you catch my drift.
No, yeah, yeah. I
Like that
definitely think that the future of VTubing and its developments, its evolutions is indie because, of course, while being in a big corporate VTubing agency has its benefits, with promotion and resources and logistics and all that stuff, ultimately, like if you're collaborating as an indie agency or as an indie streamer, like you'll be able to come up with roughly something as exciting as the big name agencies.
right. Money becomes an issue, but
Yeah.
like I definitely see what you're talking about where like independency gives you just so much freedom. Like I remember hearing about
Mm-hmm.
how at least Japanese corporate VTubers, this may not necessarily be true for like anyone who's under Chroma Shift, which used to be Idle,
Oh yeah.
and Phase Shift. Somehow they both end in shift. I didn't realize that until now.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Phase Connect. That's it. What? Insert English indie corporation here. Whoever's
Yeah,
under
yeah.
that. I don't know if they also have to follow this, but when I heard that Japanese corporate VTubers have to get permission from the developer
Yeah.
to play a game, I was like, oh my god, that
That
is
is
actually extremely limiting. Hold on.
that is the biggest fucking bummer of like watching agency VTubing because God knows, I love those streamers. Like I'm a huge fan of like especially like on the Niji Sanji side of things, like the Aluna girls of Maria Marionette, Aya
Mhm.
Mare, Scarlet Yonaguni, and it always sucks when like they're blocked from doing something cool because they don't have the perms to do it.
Yeah,
It sucks.
yeah, and independent VTubers are free from that, to my knowledge.
Well, at
Definitely,
least
if you're literally just by
American
yourself, you can just do it.
American VTubers are in general are. I mean, the reason why a lot of agency VTubers have to deal with that is because of fucking Japanese copyright law and the nightmare that is.
Right, yes.
Like,
Yeah, because Japanese copyright law is like insanely tighter in
there's
some
no
respects than
fair
ours.
use. There is no fair
Yeah.
use. So like I have a lot of respect for like indies who are building something apart from the Japanese agency system. Like yeah, you might not probably wouldn't consider V Shoujo like an indie thing now, but it's definitely its own infrastructure apart from that system. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cool the more we see like VTubing agencies pop up in the West and like indies forming their own thing. Like I think Glitch Stars is like basically its own commune of old VTubers banding together to make their own thing.
Hmm.
Uh but other but after that I'm wondering what do you hope to do as a musician in the VTuber community? As loaded as this phrase might be, what do you hope your legacy would be?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. It's take your time.
so the reason I do any of this
Mm-hmm.
is just to share things that I love, and
Mm-hmm.
that is entirely it. That is the entire reason I ever post anything,
Okay.
is because I there's something and I really like it, and I'm like, hey guys, I like this. Isn't it cool?
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess in that sense, that's also what I want my legacy to be. Is like I don't necessarily want to be this like internationally recognized icon like a lot of these VTubers have become.
Right.
Well, as independent VTubers have become.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to make a living off of this is definitely a lot better than working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I don't really want to see this sort of lavish success. I just want more people to know about the things that I know about.
So you
And
just want
additionally
your
goes the
own
other way as well. Like I've been introduced to a lot of things via like sort of exploring what do I want to stream. I don't have anything in the wings right now. I can't
right.
decide on whatever to do. What should I do? And then like I've discovered new things that I really like that way as well. So
Mm-hmm.
like just that's really all that I ever do this for, is to just, in a really reductive way to say it, I do it just to have a good time. And that's
right.
kind of all I really want from it.
And find like a like-minded community of people who like the same thing too. Yeah, no, that's always my favorite part of doing this. Like I've only when I first started as a VTuber, I wanted to like, do the variety streaming thing, but also because I'm a huge music history buff, do something with that. But eventually I decided, I ditched variety streaming after, essentially beating my head against a wall with it and not really seeing much improvement in the few months I did it. And I was like, you know what? I like editing videos. I like music history. Let's do something with that and sort of find a community of like-minded people who vibe with it. And that's just been my MO ever since. And I'm fine if, I eventually get noticed doing this stuff. I'm fine eventually becoming like a sort of recognized music opinion on here, like Anthony Fantano or Crash Thompson or Todd in the Shadows or any of those guys. But
I fucking
ultimately,
love
I
Todd in the Shadows.
hell yeah, love that dude. But ultimately, I just love, being able to gather every week with some of my viewers, with other like-minded music VTubers, and just like find common ground and find community.
Yeah, that's definitely like I I I s- I say I do this just to share, but you know what sharing needs? Other
Yeah.
people. So there is a bit of like, oh boy howdy, having an audience would make this a lot easier.
yeah.
But like yeah, it's not like I do it for that. And if I can be weirdly like cynical stroke philosophical,
Go ahead.
like me streaming is like, this is gonna sound, this maybe gonna sound like an asshole, but me streaming is an act of generosity on my part,
Hmm.
As much as anyone tuning in, that is strictly an act of generosity on them. They are
Yeah.
sacrificing their time to just watch some piece of shit be bad at a video game. And like that is like that again, that's an act of generosity. They are just taking time out of the day for nothing in return to do that.
No, honestly, that's
And it's like
true.
that sort of leads me to, and this is also a bit of a way that I try to avoid or like get in front of any parasocial things, because I know that's a massive problem in the VTubing community is parasocialites.
Absolutely.
And this is like A, we're not friends, or B, you don't know me and all that. But it's like I don't give a shit actually about like in the most kind and loving and appreciative way I can manage. I don't give a shit about anyone who watches me. Because it's this is like an exchange of generosity that in itself does have value, but it's like I'm doing this because I want to do it. And if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't be streaming. So I'm going to be doing what I want to do, and I don't owe anybody anything.
That's a good way of seeing it, honestly, driving yourself with your own motivation rather than what others expect of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've tried to stream the popular game. Like I've tried to do Apex Legends or probably some other thing that I don't even remember at this point.
Uh,
And I didn't like it.
is Apex
And if I
Legends even
had to
still
do that,
going?
it is actually. It is, but also I did that quite a while ago.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
if I had to do that or felt like I had to do that for like every stream, it's like, all right, what's the popular thing that people like? All right, I got to do that. I would
Yeah.
quit. I would have quit like a year ago.
No, I feel that. Like I'm very much in this for myself too. I mean, not to say the community isn't an important part of it, but I'm like I said before, I'm not a natural streamer. So having this sort of situation where every week I sort of gather on my channel for these music talk streams just to talk with community, talk with other VTubers. It's my way of sort of, I guess, embracing that old VTuber tradition of having a sort of zatsudan that you
Hmm.
that you share with everybody else.
Yeah, it's just a good like social muscle to stretch as well.
Exactly, exactly. Um, so do you have any dream goals or collabs as a VTuber?
Um, I mean, just doing shit with my friends is like the
Yeah.
first thing in my mind at all times when it comes to like collaborating or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've also learned to not have goals anymore. Not from
Mm.
like a cynical point of view, but like if you reach a goal, well, then what? Are you gonna stop? No, I've done that before. To bring this back to music as well, when I first started making music, like my favorite album, possibly until recently, it's a bit of a mix as to whether it is still on top, it's still high up, is Ergosphere by
Mm.
Darius, who is M. Essex, who I have mentioned several times.
I see.
And like that's sort of like a spacey sci-fi new jazz sort of record.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was first starting out, I was naive enough to say, if I can make a song like that, then I can just quit and I will be happy with that. Fast forward to a couple years ago when I made a song like that. And then I was like, well, it actually even took me a bit to realize, hold on, I've been wanting to do that for like ever. And
Mm-hmm.
like that was like my goal. And now what? And
Hey, it's
like,
always good to set
well,
new
I'm not
goals for
gonna
yourself.
like it's not like I'm gonna stop doing this. So it's and I'll set like more short term goals, but because like obviously having enough music to put on an album, that's a goal.
Yeah.
So but like I've sort of stopped having those sort of aspirations because either I do them, but then it doesn't matter because I'm gonna keep going anyway,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't do them and I feel like shit because I missed out on my goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's a struggle with bouncing the motivation there for sure. But in the words of Miley Cyrus, there's always gonna be another mountain, something gonna make it move.
Uh, oh, Miley, you are a one.
It's the climb. Let's see. Uh, damn it. Why is my webcam is being very wonky and tracking my avatar?
Understandable. Also,
Uh,
just 3D tracking issues in general.
yeah, no, for sure. No, it's really weird, ever since I've moved to this new apartment that I've been in for the past few months, like my mouth tracking has not been nearly as accurate. I don't know why,
Has your
but
lighting changed?
probably a little bit. That might have something to do with it, but I don't know how I would fix that.
I don't know. I mean, I have a cheap,
Yeah.
shitty USB ring light, and it works
Uh
fine.
I could do that at some point. Let's see. And then we only have a few more questions left here. Have you gone to very many concerts, either like EDM stuff or otherwise?
I have been to two, in fact.
Yeah.
I have been to one back when I was in college. It was some house show with some local bands. That was really cool. That was my first time really
Nice,
in a
nice.
situation like that. And it was fun to sit in the back and listen, essentially. Which, I mean, that's what I was there for, really. I wasn't there specifically to like, oh, time to do house party things. No, I was there
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
to a gig and listen to live music and have a good time. And then
No shame in being a
last
wallflower.
year, yeah, exactly. That's the kind of person I am. Except last year, I went to Form Fest in Seattle.
Mm.
One of my friends, Convexity, was playing there, and
Hmm.
I snuck. I didn't sneak in. I bought tickets, and I went there completely legitimately, honest officer.
Right.
But I went there, and like that was just fantastic. And
Hmm.
I definitely left early because I was getting very tired. Because I go to bed at normal people hours, which is apparently weird for a VTuber.
I mean, if I didn't have a job, my sleep schedule would definitely be more fucked up than it is now.
Right.
It's only by the grace of the weekdays that I have a semi-normal semi-normal sleep clock.
Even when I wasn't employed, I like went to bed at like 10, 11, and woke up at 6 to 7.
I mean, I
Like
respect
I
that
was just
commitment.
normal. It's not a commitment. It's just when it happens.
I respect the commitment. I mean, you have your mornings. I prefer to have my nights.
It's weird because like I would say that I'm a morning person, but I don't like to wake up.
Yeah. No, that's
If I
definitely a
happen to
struggle.
be up and active in the mornings, it is just a fantastic time for me. It's
Hmm.
really calming and I feel really like energized by it, but I don't want to leave my bed for about an hour and then I don't want to leave my house for about 5 hours.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, I feel you on the bed thing. That's I've got an absurdly comfortable mattress that breaks my heart to leave every time I wake up in the morning.
Oh, my darling, please keep me in your embrace.
Exactly. You have any fun concert memories from those gigs?
I mean, the first one, I was just hanging in the back with my friend from college who ran the lighting rig. And that
Right,
was
yeah.
honestly a pretty cool thing to see how
Oh
that
yeah,
worked.
like all the bells and whistles there.
Yeah, yeah. I think he just had a little like laptop sized sort of controller for all of it, and it was only enough lights to run a house show, so it
Right.
wasn't anything like super like technologically impressive and massive and mind-boggling or anything, but it was really cool to see. And
Mm-hmm.
then from the other show, just like I mean, that was my first EDM show because I've only been to two concerts,
Mm-hmm.
as we discussed.
Right,
But
right, right.
that just being able to see one of my internet friends up on stage playing music and not play the song that has been an inside joke between us of when the hell are they going to release it, but also it already released, but whatever.
Yeah. I
And
can
like
imagine that
that
must have
that
been a
was
surreal
insane thing.
experience.
Oh yeah, it was wild. And then like you know, after the show, walk down to the Unicorn Bar, get some garlic fries and lemonade, and then go
Oh yeah.
home. That
Oh
was
yeah.
sick. And then, like, honestly, that whole sort of like extended weekend I was there was just this fantastic time because, like, it was up on Capitol Hill in Seattle, and
Oh
that's like
yeah.
where I would love to live long term if I can manage it.
Mm.
Seattle's
God,
expensive, so
really
who
want to go to
knows?
Seattle someday. I've been reading a lot about it recently with the whole grunge scene that was there and all in the like the late 80s,
Yeah,
early 90s.
yeah,
But,
like
just
fucking,
it's
Nirvana.
yeah, but it just seems like
Exactly.
such a gorgeous city in general with such a rich community and history and I want to check it out.
It is, and people will say there's like this massive homelessness problem, and they are right. I will be honest.
Yeah, but you could levy that at every major
At a
American
lot of
city at this
places, yeah,
point.
yeah. Like there's places that people will like say Seattle's a bit grody about, but
Yeah.
like honestly, that I'm just too much of a city slicker at heart. I love even those parts of it.
Hey, as a resident of New York City, I couldn't agree more.
Oh yeah, you get it.
Uh so last question. Usually I like to leave these streams off recently with how hectic the world's been recently by asking my guest, what sort of music do you like to turn into in times of stress? Are you more a sort of person that likes to be in their feelings, or are you very cathartic, like listening to loud, heavy stuff?
It depends on sort of a bit of the feelings and a bit of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've mentioned sort of my musical history, and in there is a bunch of really heavy stuff,
The new
like
metal.
new metal, like Disturbed, one of my favorite bands. Static X,
Right.
another one of my favorite bands. Rest in peace, Wayne Static, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And like a bunch of like more hardcore in EDM stuff
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like hard like raw style and Dutch hardcore and all that sort of stuff, really heavy drum and bass, all that,
Interesting, yeah.
and some more experimental sad boy time stuff, boy boi obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there's stuff that I can wallow around with that about, but there like I try very hard and very actively to be optimistic
Okay.
and to find the small nearly invisible moments of beauty in the world, because if I don't they will get lonely.
Mm-hmm. That's
So I try to, rather than let myself wallow in things that maybe I can't even control. So what is even the point? Because I'm just gonna feel
mm-hmm.
bad and then I can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing that, I like to try to sort of uplift myself and those around me. And I will often turn to I mean, honestly, by default, the music that I will turn to in general is happy hardcore. That's my
Right.
favorite genre of all time. Happy
I
hardcore, UK
see. I
hardcore.
see.
It is just this really upbeat, not always nominally happy,
Right.
but like never really, you know, downtrodden and such. It's
Lively.
always really high energy, even if like the song is a bit gritty and rough. It is to the ends of making people happy and energetic and feeling good and raving and plur and all that. And that's sort of what I turn to under most circumstances if I just want to pick up music and listen to it in general.
Interesting.
As such, like that sort of ends up being what I turn to if I'm stressed. Otherwise, that like there are definitely times where I'll go to that
I see.
more dark stuff and all that. But you know,
Yeah. Welcome, Joe Fiel. You didn't
Joe
miss this.
Joe is here.
We're
Joe
still
Joe, my
talking.
friend.
Welcome to the stream, Joe. Unfortunately, I just asked my final question that I had prepared for the stream, but
And we'll just do it
uh,
all again. We can. That's fine.
I wish, I know I gotta go back into the fucking VOD later and like edit the fucking 10 or whatever, however long chunk
Oh
of
yeah.
stretch of time where you weren't audible or whatever.
Oh yeah. The moment where you were just talking to the voices.
Yeah, no, I got to go back and fix that up. But I've it's been a very cool conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to add, maybe ask, or do
Um, I was gonna say listen to my album, but it's not even out yet. uh, Wait for my album.
Yeah, yeah. Where can people best find you? Like, do you want me to link your Blue Sky? Do you want your link tree? Are you particular
Find me
about
on yeah, find me on Blue Sky, Alyssa dash VT. That's where like I also post on Twitter, not X. That's not a real website, but also post on Twitter. But I deliberately try to only have, like here's my schedule and here's when I'm live on Twitter and try to direct as much traffic as possible towards anything beyond that onto
Mm-hmm.
my Blue Sky. And Blue Sky is the one that
Mm,
I like promote in my stream overlays and stuff
yeah.
like that. There's
No, I'm
my card that
I'm
has
very
all my
much
links.
I'm very much the same. I still have my Twitter account, but I use it basically as a toxic waste dumping ground for all my more cynical and negative opinions about the VTuber community. And then Blue Sky, Blue Sky is basically my promotional vehicle.
Right. Yeah, there's that. When I stream, it is on Twitch. That is, I think, also no, that's Alyssa underscore VT.
Yeah, yeah.
Because websites using dashes and underscores, it's hard to choose, you know?
Yeah.
But like that's where I stream, and I'm actually going to be streaming later. I'll be playing Bulk Slash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm sure you've never heard of that.
Yeah, no, 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 no
Yeah,
idea. But
yeah,
that sounds
Japanese only
nice.
game for the Saturn. No one's heard of that.
Sounds like a streaming game to me.
Yep, I'm playing that, and I am on YouTube, technically speaking.
Hmm.
I used to stream there. I don't anymore.
I mean, yeah, the
A whole video as to
YouTube
why.
YouTube streaming is not the best for discoverability, but I've made a home here thanks to the whole uploading videos aspect of things.
Yeah, and like if I want to upload videos, what choice do I get? And
Right,
like all
right.
my shorts and clips go here,
Hmm.
and I have archived VODs,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I don't on Twitch. So
Exactly. Well, Alyssa, it's been really fun having you on the talk stream. Always a
it's
pleasure
been
talking with
fantastic to be here.
a fellow musically minded VTuber like yourself. And thank y'all in the audience for tuning in today. Sorry, Jofio, that you came in right at the end here, but I
Just
promise.
scroll back. Just watch it all from the beginning. It's
I
fine.
promise the VOD won't be too short behind in coming out. Hopefully, it'll be processed relatively quickly, and then I can just go in and remove the the extraneous bits.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see if I can redirect all y'all somewhere somewhere fitting. You know what? We're gonna go to Kendra's stream. Kendra Bratton. Fairy friends. And if you all want to join me in raiding into her stream, then go ahead and copy and paste this message, this cat raid message, into her chat. Give me a second here. Just making sure I'm set up right after the stream is done here. But otherwise, yeah, no, I'll probably give you guys more updates soon on hopefully part 3 of the Glam Deep Dive. Hopefully I'll have all of the necessary books that I was gonna order for it in my possession soon, and I'll be taking notes and doing all the research for it. More news to come on that front. And also, I forgot to mention, I said this on my Blue Sky, but I'll be going to Anime NYC, so I'll probably say more about that later, but if any of y'all are going, I'd be happy to see you guys there. But in any case, I'm gonna go off now and get some dinner for myself and, just chill for the rest of the night. I hope y'all have a fantastic night yourselves, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.